We have the latest on that deadly explosion that killed 4 people over the weekend. We hear from some who live nearby.
A man walking in busy traffic, losing his life and leaving lots of questions this morning.
And a cold front is moving south through south central Texas. It is sweeping away the humidity, going to make it feel a lot like December for the last half of this week. Plus, I've got an eye on the weekend ahead.
Live from KSAT12, the news at noon starts right now.
Detectives right now trying to make sense out of a deadly crash on a West Side highway. San Antonio police say that a pedestrian was hit and killed on Highway 90 near Loop 410.
They don't know why that person was on the busy roadway. Katrina Weber has been covering this story and tells us that is just one of many questions they have about this case.
Well, that is true. One other big question that police have is who that person was. They say because of the extensive injuries, they're not even able to determine the gender of the person who was killed. They have had a lot of ground to cover here, a very wide area of evidence that really is spread all across the lanes of the highway. Police pointed out that it was still dark when the crash happened just before 6 this morning. They say the driver or drivers involved apparently did not see the person on the highway. Officers did question 2 people whose vehicles had obvious damage, a pickup and a compact car, but they were not able to say which one or if both of them hit the pedestrian. Police told us one driver told them he lost control when he tried to avoid a kitchen sink that was on the road. This has been a very lengthy investigation for police, and because of that, they had to shut down the main lanes of the highway. Again, this is eastbound Highway 90 near Loop 410. That caused a big traffic backup that stretched on for miles and no doubt made quite a few people late for work or school this morning. Reporting from the West Side, Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Police pointing out that it was still dark when that crash happened. We are expecting some more answers finally, more than 3 days since a deadly explosion killed 4 people at a San Antonio construction company. It happened on Friday night in a somewhat isolated patch of land on the southeast side of town.
It's not doing me no good to be out here and not really having a place to stay, to sleep. You can't take a bath. I can't change my clothes. My shoes were wet for 2 days because I didn't have extra shoes. And I have all my stuff in my RV, but they just won't let me get it.
That's one of the people who were, one of the people who has not been allowed back to our home because the debris and the investigation is so widespread. Meantime, we did get some information about the victims.
The Bexar County Examiner identified another victim from Friday's explosion, 28-year-old Ashley Otterby. The other identified victim is 36-year-old Roger Huron Jr. We are still waiting on the names of the other 2 victims, but we know they are a 57-year-old man and a 61-year-old man. On KSAT.com, we will be live streaming the fire department's news conference and have full coverage on KSAT 12 News at 5 and 6.
The search now underway for suspects in the murder of a U.S. Army veteran. 2 years ago today, 27-year-old Bernard Terry died after being shot in the head on Judson Road near George Cooper Street. His family told KSAT that he was gunned down while he was on his way home. Officers found his car stopped in the middle of the street, full of bullet holes. Terry was dead inside the vehicle. We're told 2 cars were seen speeding off from the scene. You can call Crime Stoppers if you have any information about this case. That phone number to call, 224-STOP.
This afternoon, we will be hearing testimony from K9 Chucky's handler. He is expected to take the stand and talk about his time with Chucky and losing him in the line of duty as the trial of the man accused of killing K9 Chucky continues today. Prosecutors say Matthew Morales led a chase starting in Karnes County into Bexar County back in January of 2019. After he was stopped, Morales started to wave his gun, threatening cops to shoot him. K9 Chucky was let loose to subdue Morales, and that is when the dog was shot.
You may have heard about it on social media, and it may have scared you, but San Antonio police say that there is a viral post out there about a serial killer, and it is not true. The post's been going around on claims that there's a serial killer here who has killed 9 people. San Antonio police say this post has, quote, no factual basis, end quote. SAPD said that it's aware of the rumor and it wants to reassure the public not to be alarmed, and they call the posts unsubstantiated.
And SAPD wants to let you know that they are going to be conducting training exercises today. Their bomb squad is going to be doing that. Police say there will be several loud detonations, but don't be alarmed. There's no cause for concern. The exercises will happen between 9 this morning and will continue till 2 p.m. this afternoon. The San Antonio Trading Academy off Southeast Loop 410 is near Pleasanton Road.
There is a new KSAT Explains out, and it's about what happens when you call 911. Myra Arthur and the team takes us inside a local emergency communications center. Think of it kind of like a command center for emergencies that are happening all throughout our area. We're going to explain how a fee on your phone bill pays for all this. The KSAT Explains team talked with dispatchers and call takers who share what it is like to answer all these calls day in and day out.
While she was on the phone, you heard the gun go off. You heard her scream.
Some of the emergencies they've been dealing with, they say they never forget. You can watch this latest KSAT Explains episode right now on KSAT.com.
Tuberculosis testing continues for 3 local high schools. Those being tested are close contacts. Officials say there is no need to panic, though. Metro Health says it expects to screen about 115 people total at Brandeis, Clark, and O'Connor. Northside ISD notified families last week about the case at Brandeis and then the close contact with people at Clark and O'Connor. Those considered close contacts were also notified by Metro Health.
There's no need to panic or worry at this point. There won't be any further transmission at this point.
Metro Health says the patient who tested positive was isolated and is expected to be okay.
The numbers are just staggering, something El Paso hasn't seen in a single weekend. 2,400 migrants counted crossing the border there, overwhelming immigration facilities.
They are raising concerns that the crossings will be more frequent ahead of the end of Title 42. ABC's Matt Rivers with how they know more are coming.
This morning, U.S. migration facilities operating on overdrive in El Paso as hundreds of migrants cross the border in a matter of hours. Parents tiptoeing through the river, children in tow, praying upon arrival, others forced to wait for hours under a looming border fence. In a year filled with mass migration to the U.S., this stands out. Migrants just a stone's throw from downtown El Paso, burning whatever they can to stay warm overnight. Migrant facilities at capacity here, forcing Border Patrol to transfer migrants to other parts of the border. A senior Homeland Security official calling the situation, quote, an absolute mess. Daily apprehensions now averaging 2,400 plus in the El Paso sector over the last few days. This ahead of next week's possible end of Title 42, a Trump-era policy that allows for the immediate expulsion of migrants without allowing them to seek asylum. Eddie and Ediani and their twins are waiting to cross until Title 42 is lifted.
Pero ¿por qué ustedes siguen tratando de cruzarse? Calidad de vida. They keep trying to cross because they're looking for a better quality of life.
They've tried to cross once and were expelled under Title 42. Still, they won't stop trying.
And there are still hundreds of people behind me waiting to be processed by the Border Patrol, some even lighting fires to try and stay warm. I've been reporting from this exact spot in Ciudad Juarez on migration for years now, and in this spot, I've never seen anything quite like this. Matt Rivers, ABC News in Ciudad Juarez on the U.S.-Mexico border.
President Biden expected to sign the Respect for Marriage Act today. It is a bill that protects the rights of Americans in same-sex and interracial marriages. The public push to pass federal protection for same-sex and interracial marriages intensified this year after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. Still coming up, UTSA Roadrunners preparing for a big game. We've got more on that on the way.
One school here in San Antonio helping out students, teaching them about space and science. What new plans they have for the new year coming up.
The Scobie Education Center has become a hub for space science education in the South Texas region, impacting the lives of hundreds of our students right here in our community.
Tiffany Huertas takes a look at their last planetarium show of the year and the new additions you're going to see in the year to come.
This year has been really the recovery from the pandemic. We've had full slates of classes, 5th grade through 8th grade coming in, kids flying to Mars daily.
It's been a busy year at the Scovey Education Center located on the San Antonio College campus.
We typically have about 20,000 people come through the whole center each year, and roughly about 5,000 or 6,000 students in the Challenger Center.
Rick Varner, the center director, says their mission is to inspire the next generation of scientists and engineers. The facility is filled with learning areas and a planetarium for shows.
On Friday, families will experience a winter wonderland and watch holiday-themed shows connecting the season to astronomy. 2
recorded programs, The Season of Light and The Mystery of the Christmas Star, and those are 2 that look at the astronomical connections to the religious and historical events of this time of the year.
As the new year approaches, Varner looks forward to the opening of the Santikos Micronaut Center next year.
It's geared toward children who are 4 to 3rd grade, and so we're the upper end of preschool to 3rd grade. They're all hands-on lab experiences. They simulate going to low Earth orbit to the International Space Station.
The center aims to continue making memories and creating experiences for the community. Tiffany Huertas, KSAT12 News.
Wow, let's check out space and see what. Oh, can't see space because it's cloudy.
Everybody's windshield wipers are wearing out at this point, Sarah.
Well, you know, the rain around San Antonio really has ended, and we are starting to see peaks of sunshine as a cold front approaches. Now, when we look at the aquifer, it's actually up 0.2 of a foot over the past 24 hours, and in the pollen count, molds are up too. Molds are moderate at 980. Now, mountain cedar is low. That's some good news. But with the windy weather over the next couple of days, we may actually see mountain cedar go up. Take a look at the radar right now. Again, quiet around San Antonio, but we are seeing some showers out east toward Gonzales and near Hallettsville as well. But around San Antonio, again, it's fairly quiet as we await this front. Now, this front is going to drop our temperatures in the afternoon closer to 70 degrees. But the big difference you'll notice, it'll be much drier. It'll be a little windy with north winds at 10 to 15, and we'll see less humidity too. Coming up though, the mornings will be chilly. I've got a look ahead in a few minutes.
When she says like cold mornings, I'm like, yes, it's about time. Come on, bring it on.
I know. It really has felt like spring out there every morning, kind of like June gloom.
Oh my goodness, and gray and just damp outside. We are going to see much more sunshine over the coming days, guys. But the same system that's bringing us a cool front and drier weather also unfortunately brought some tornado damage, some wind damage to those near the Dallas-Fort Worth area. This is in Parker County, which is just west of Fort Worth. You can see all of this damage from a potential tornado out there out west. This very same storm system also caused those at the Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport to shelter in place because of this potential storm. Again, you can see very clearly here, the National Weather Service has to go out there and survey the damage themselves, but looks like tornado damage is the most likely culprit for this damage that you're seeing on your screen. But again, here in San Antonio, it's relatively quiet. I want to show you that's where the main area of storms is right now that has the potential for severe weather. This box right here is a tornado watch for parts of northeast Texas, and it's East Texas and Louisiana that's going to be under the gun for severe weather today. Here's where that front is right now. You can see the core of the low pressure system bringing wintry weather to parts of Nebraska and Colorado. And the front, I needed to move this front up a little bit. It's actually through Dallas-Fort Worth right now. You can see in the winds where that front is right now through Del Rio too. Temperatures behind this front are not all that much colder. The biggest difference you're going to notice from this front is the dry air. Much drier air behind this front that's going to sweep away the humidity, prevent us from having those damp damp mornings, at least for a few days here. Taking you through the futurecast, it's this area across East Texas and Louisiana that has the potential for some severe storms today. As for our weather in San Antonio, we're seeing clearer skies right now. That front is going to move through and allow for partly cloudy skies to mostly sunny skies this afternoon. And then overnight, there is the potential that we could see some clouds redevelop with sprinkles possible. It's going to be so dry at the surface that any rain that falls will likely evaporate. So unimportant rain in the overnight hours for us with temperatures in the 50s. And then during the day Wednesday, clearing skies, beautiful sunny weather. A little bit on the windy side, though. We could have wind gusts from the northwest at about 30 miles per hour. High temperature of 67 with low humidity. A beautiful but windy day tomorrow. And then by Thursday morning, we'll be feeling that chill in the air that David was talking about. Mornings will likely be in the 30s on Thursday and Friday morning. As we take a look at the satellite right now, clearing skies at the moment, partly cloudy skies for the most part. Temperatures are generally in the mid to upper 70s, and we'll see them go up by a couple of degrees here before that front actually moves through around the midday hours. Taking a look at the radar, quiet around San Antonio, but there are some showers for our eastern counties near Hallettsville and Lavaca County. But again, here in San Antonio, it is fairly quiet at the moment. Here's your KSAT 12-hour forecast for the remainder of the day. Again, I think we could get up close to 80 degrees by about the next couple of hours. And then temperatures this afternoon will be closer to 70 degrees right around 4 or 5 p.m. It's also going to be windy with north winds at about 10 to 15, gusting up to about 25, 30 miles per hour. And then later this evening, not necessarily cool, but cooler. Temperatures will be in the 60s. And again, I think we could have some clouds later on tonight. As we look at high temperatures over the next few days, feeling a lot more like December, highs in the 60s through Friday. And then over the weekend, we'll actually see a bit more of a chill in the air with temperatures in the 50s and even the possibility for a few showers out there over the weekend. Forecast over the weekend is a little bit muddy as far as rain goes, but I do expect us to have a cooler weekend with highs only in the 50s. A lot of rumors on social media and around San Antonio about our Christmas forecast. I'll be back during the next half hour to clear some things up for us.
Thank you, Sarah.
That's why you're here, to clear those things up.
That's right. Clear the air.
The Roadrunners flew to Orlando. They're now preparing for their big bowl game. Larry Ramirez is there. And the Spurs are on a legitimate roll now. Shocking news hitting the college football family and the sports world in general today. Former Texas Tech coach Mike Leach passed away this morning. Leach had been the coach at Mississippi State for the past 3 seasons. He fell ill Sunday, was taken to a local hospital in Starkville and then transported to the University of Mississippi Medical Center, where he died this morning due to a heart condition. Leach had been struggling with pneumonia during the season, but said he was feeling better. He leaves a legacy of quirky off-the-cuff comments during interviews behind. He wrote a book about Geronimo, loved pirates, and even taught a class about insurgent warfare. He had a law degree from Pepperdine, but he will mostly be remembered for his air raid offense that he perfected. He was an innovator and a pioneer. His quarterbacks had gaudy numbers. His coaching tree has a lot of branches, like his former quarterback Cliff Kingsbury, Sonny Dykes, Eric Morris, Graham Harrell. The list goes on and on. He'll also be remembered for his 10 years at Texas Tech, winning 84 games and putting that program in the national spotlight. He leaves behind his wife Sharon, 4 children, and 3 grandchildren. Leach was only 61. The UTSA Roadrunners are in Orlando for their bowl game, but their trip started off on a very sad note. Head football coach Jeff Traylor tweeted that his father passed away yesterday morning after a lengthy illness. Larry Ramirez is in Orlando and takes a look at the Roadrunners bowl preps.
First and foremost, this is a business trip, but Coach Traylor knows bowl games are also meant to be fun.
We've tried to be very intentional about that and reward these young men. It's a fine line. It's a balance, but I know they're excited about each night's events.
This is UTSA's 4th bowl game overall, and the second one Coach Traylor will get to work from the field.
Obviously, I didn't get to come to the first bowl because I had COVID, but so last year was my first bowl. So even though my children remind me that on Wikipedia I'm 0-3 in bowl games, I've only coached in 1, so I don't understand how I'm 0-3. We got to talk to Mr. Wikipedia.
Hopefully, Mr. Wiki will soon be adding a victory to Coach Traylor's bowl record.
Thank you, Larry. kids will get Wikipedia straight. The Spurs are on a serious roll. They have now won 3 in a row after a nail-biter last night against the Cleveland Cavaliers. The AT&T Center, Isaiah Roby driving the baseline, pump fakes, puts it up for the 5-point Spurs edge. Devin Vassell shot too hard, but Charles Bassey from St. Anthony High School slams it down, 29-27. Josh Richardson from the wing. Spurs are up 10. Then the Spurs pushing the pace. Jeremy Sohan ahead to Keldon Johnson for the bucket, the foul. All that is a part of a Spurs 16-0 run to lead 65-49 at the break. The Cavs are able to cut the Spurs lead down to 10, but the Spurs don't fold. Collins out of Keldon lines up for the straightaway 3 and then drains it. Pushes the Spurs lead to 18. Josh Richardson catch and shoot 3. Oh, from way out there, plus the foul. Spurs have the largest lead of the night at 19, but it didn't last. Cavs cut it to 1 with 13 seconds left. Cavs with the ball. Donovan Mitchell drives a bucket, heads up Keldon Johnson with a huge block. They get it to the corner for Darius Garland. Wide open. Nope, off the rim. They can't hang on to the rebound, and the Spurs are able to pull off the huge victory at home last night, 112-111 over the Cleveland Cavs. That is 3 in a row.
Close games are always good for guys to either win or lose because they just teach you a lot about yourselves, about how the game goes, about the flow, about how you got to approach things. So, I mean, I think the experience that we got today was big for us, and to come out with a win like that is a big step.
Gotta keep it going. Tomorrow night they host the Portland Trail Blazers. Tip-off for that one is at 7 o'clock at the AT&T Center. The lines were very long last night. It was Tim Duncan bobblehead night.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of people showed up, so they had a good crowd there for him last night. Awesome. Hey, a new study shows how too much screen time could be affecting your child's emotions.
They have a mind of their own, and it's hard to keep up with the trends, but don't let that discourage you from finding the right gift for the teen or adult in your life. We have some gift ideas you need to consider. It's Today at 5 after Entertainment Tonight.